Right now, somewhere in Canada, someone is getting a letter from the CRA telling them they owe hundreds of dollars in tax on their TFSA. They didn't make a bad investment. They didn't cheat the system. They just contributed too much. The CRA charges 1% per month on every dollar you overcontribute to your TFSA. That might sound small, but on a $10,000 excess, that's $100 a month, $1,200 a year, until you fix it. And here's what makes this trap different from most. The CRA doesn't call you. They don't send a warning. In many cases, by the time you find out, you've already been over the limit for months. I'm going to show you exactly how this happens, how to find out if it's happening to you right now, and what to do if you've already crossed the line. This isn't financial advice, just the math the CRA uses and how to stay on the right side of it. First, let's make sure we're on the same page about how TFSA room actually works, because this is where most people's mental model breaks down. Every year, the federal government adds a fixed dollar amount to every eligible Canadian's TFSA contribution room. In 2024 and 2025, that number was $7,000. The room accumulates whether you use it or not. If you were 18 or older and a Canadian resident in 2009 when the TFSA launched, and you've never contributed a single dollar, your total available room right now is $109,000. But not everyone gets the full room. If you turned 18 after 2009, you only start accumulating room in the year you turn 18. If you immigrated to Canada, you only get room from the year you became a resident. That distinction catches a lot of people, and we'll come back to it. Now here's the rule that trips up the most Canadians. When you withdraw money from your TFSA, that room does come back, but not immediately. It comes back on January 1st of the next calendar year. Say it's October and you pull $20,000 out of your TFSA. You want to reinvest it somewhere else, then change your mind and put it straight back in. You just overcontributed by $20,000. The room doesn't return until January 1st. That's the number one cause of TFSA penalties in Canada. People withdraw and recontribute in the same calendar year assuming the room restores instantly. It doesn't. The fix is simple, wait until January. But you have to know the rule exists. The second mistake is the multiple TFSA trap. Your contribution limit is not per account, it's per person. If you have a TFSA at your bank and another one at a brokerage, the combined total across both accounts cannot exceed your personal room. People open a second TFSA thinking they're getting fresh contribution space. They're not. The limit follows you, not the account. Every dollar you put into any TFSA you own counts against the same ceiling. The third mistake involves transfers. If you want to move money from a TFSA at one institution to a TFSA at another, there is a right way and a wrong way. The wrong way, withdraw the money yourself and redeposit it. When you do it that way, the CRA sees a withdrawal and then a brand new contribution. If you're already near your limit, that new contribution might push you over. The right way is a direct transfer. Your new institution requests the funds from your old one, institution to institution. The CRA treats that as a transfer, not a contribution, and your room is untouched. The fourth mistake is trusting a number that's already out of date. When you log into CRA My Account and look up your TFSA contribution room, that number reflects your room as of January 1st of the current year. It does not include anything you've contributed since then. So if you put in $5,000 in February and you check CRA My Account today, it still shows your full annual room as though you haven't touched it. You have to subtract your year-to-date contributions yourself. The CRA will not do that math for you. These four mistakes, same-year recontribution, multiple accounts, DIY transfers, and a stale CRA number, account for the vast majority of overcontribution penalties in Canada. And in almost every case, the person had no idea they'd done anything wrong. Now let's look at what the penalty actually costs, because the numbers get uncomfortable fast. The tax is 1% per month on the highest excess TFSA amount in each month. The CRA doesn't charge you once for the mistake. They charge you every single month the excess remains in your account. Say you overcontribute by $15,000 in March and you don't find out until the CRA sends you a notice in October. That's 7 months at 1% on $15,000. 7 months times $150. Over $1,000 in tax. On money you were allowed to have, just not in a TFSA. The penalty doesn't cap out. If you leave the excess in place, it keeps accumulating every month indefinitely. Some Canadians have been paying this penalty for years because the CRA's letter went to an old address, or it looked like junk mail and got ignored. The form you eventually have to file is the RC-243, the TFSA return. It's due by June 30th of the year following the over-contribution. Miss that deadline and there's a late filing penalty on top of the tax you already owe. Let's talk about how to find out where you stand right now. This takes about 3 minutes. Log into CRA My Account at canada.ca. Under the TFSA section, you'll find your contribution room as of January 1st of this year. Write that number down, or screenshot it. Now go through your own records and add up every dollar you've deposited into any TFSA during this calendar year. Every account, every institution. Subtract your year-to-date contributions from the CRA number. What's left is your actual available room right now. If the result is 0 or positive, you're fine. If it's negative, you have a problem that needs fixing today, not next month. There's one more thing to check. If you made withdrawals from any TFSA last year, that room should have been added back to your January 1st number. Confirm that matches what you see in CRA My Account. If it doesn't, call the CRA or review your contribution history in My Account. The transaction history is there. Now, what do you do if you've already overcontributed? The fix is to withdraw the excess amount from your TFSA as quickly as possible. The penalty is based on the highest excess amount at the end of each month, so if you get the money out before the end of the current month, you stop the penalty from accruing for that month. Once you withdraw it, file the RC-243 to report and pay the tax for the months the excess was sitting in there. You can't undo those months, but you can stop the meter the moment the excess is out. If the overcontribution was a genuine mistake and the amount of tax is significant, you can apply to the CRA for a waiver using Form RC-4288. The CRA does grant these in cases of honest error, particularly same-year withdrawal and recontribution mistakes, but it's not automatic and it takes time. The sooner you apply, the better. The stronger move is to avoid the situation entirely. Set a calendar reminder for every January 1st. Log into CRA My Account. Note your new room. Track your contributions as you make them throughout the year. That's the whole system. Most financial institutions won't warn you when you're approaching your limit because they only see what's held with them. If you have accounts at 2 places, neither one knows about the other. The tracking is entirely on you. There's one more scenario worth addressing directly. You moved to Canada a few years ago. The bank suggested you open a TFSA when you arrived, and you've been contributing every year. Are you fine? Only if you've been calculating your room from the year you became a Canadian resident, not from 2009. You accumulate room for the years you were a resident, full stop. If you arrived in 2018, your room starts in 2018. The years before that don't exist for your TFSA, regardless of what anyone implied when you opened the account. This has generated significant CRA penalties for new Canadians specifically. If this applies to you, log into CRA My Account, verify your room, and if there's a gap between what you've contributed and what you were actually allowed to contribute, deal with it now. The waiver process exists for exactly this situation. Let's also be clear about what the TFSA gets right, because none of this is a reason to be cautious with one. It's one of the most powerful financial tools the Canadian government has ever created. Tax-free growth on every dollar inside, tax-free withdrawals anytime for any reason. No impact on income-tested benefits like OAS and retirement. No age limit on contributions. No other account in the Canadian system does all of that at once. The overcontribution trap isn't a reason to use your TFSA less. It's a reason to know your numbers. The penalty only touches you if you go over the limit. Stay under it and there's no downside. Here's the 5-point checklist. 1. Know your room. Log into CRA My Account today if you haven't checked recently. Write the number down. 2. If you're withdrawing and want to reinvest, wait until January 1st. Pull the money out in December if you want, but don't put it back in until the new year. 1 calendar year apart, no problem. 3. If you're moving a TFSA between institutions, call your new provider and ask them to do a direct transfer. Don't withdraw the cash yourself and redeposit it. That one step eliminates the transfer mistake entirely. 4. Track your current year contributions yourself. The CRA's number in My Account is always as of January 1st. Everything you've contributed since then is your responsibility to subtract from that number. 5. If you immigrated to Canada after 2009, calculate your room from the year you became a resident, not from 2009. CRA. My Account will show your correct personal room once you log in and confirm. The TFSA overcontribution penalty collects millions from Canadians every year. Not from people who were cheating. From people who assumed the rules were simpler than they are, or trusted a number on a screen without understanding what it didn't include. Check your room, track your contributions. Wait for January before recontributing withdrawals. Transfer correctly. Those 4 habits keep you entirely clear of this. If this cleared something up for you, subscribe. Every week I cover the Canadian money mechanics that don't get explained clearly enough. The real rules, the real numbers, no sales pitch. See you in the next one.